Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Sugar Free Self Care TV. This is my favorite series, though, ever in YouTube, though, because this is all about my client success series. And I have an amazing special guest today. This is Victoria. She is incredible. And I just love having my past clients here because it really shows you that, what I really like to emphasize with my program, especially, is that, weight loss is a journey, it's ongoing. And also, it's not about being perfect, but it's about like, what did we learn along the way? Like, what were some shifts that helped us move forward in our goals? And how did we, if we're imperfect, how did we keep moving forward anyway and keep going on? So I just really wanted to kind of highlight that and acknowledge everyone who goes through my program today. So with that being said, I'd love for you, Victoria, to go ahead and share with us who you are and what you do.
Hi, I'm Victoria. I participated in Cravings program in early 2022, and that was a journey. And I work in education as my full-time job, and then now I have more energy from the program to be able to take on other endeavors. And so I also work part-time at a retail gig that I have on the weekends, and then I also run an online Etsy shop when the free time that I have.
Dude, she's doing like 3 jobs at a time. Like, what a beast. Come on, guys. That's freaking amazing. And going on her own health and wellness journey. Like, come on, guys. This is why she's here today. So anyway, so thank you so much, Victoria, for joining us. Like, I just love that, you're like coming on as an example for so many women, just to help them see like, okay, like what what is this program about? And just help them see like what I actually do in the program, because I know there's a lot of misconceptions about weight loss coaches and what I do out there. But I'd love for you to share, Victoria, because transparency is really important to me in my program. And I'd love to share, if you wouldn't mind letting us know, like, where were you before the program, like in terms of what your eating habits were like, maybe, or maybe what's your relationship with food? What had you want to reach out to me? So if you could briefly kind of summarize that, like, where were you before the program?
So before this program, I was like, I guess, yo-yo dieting. I would go weeks just having like just green smoothies, and then I'd hit a wall at work where I'd just be like so stressed out. I just want to like zone out at the end of the day, just go pick up some pizza or tacos or whatever I fancied, and just binge eat until I fell asleep and watch Netflix. And I was in this like zombie state. And then not only that, I think I was like 28 or so, and I had gone to the doctors, and I was being prescribed like medication to help like monitor like my blood pressure and my cholesterol. And that was just like not the state I wanted to be in, especially at such a young age. And so I was like, I need to change, but I don't really know how. I feel so wrecked every day at the end of every day.
Right. Right. Especially like, you're so young, and like, it's just like crazy to have those sort of health issues come up. Like I really resonate with that because I had a similar thing. Like I was in 2017, which I think you know my story. Like I was pre-diabetic, even though I was working out a ton, I was doing Spartan races and all that stuff. And yet like I was at a level where my blood sugar was was higher than usual. So it just sucks when these health issues start coming up and you're like, what the heck, what's going on? And you want to change it. So I'm curious for you, especially like, what is it that you came to me for? Like what sort of help were you looking for? And what made you want to join the Impulse Mastery program?
For me, what really resonated was the whole idea of like impulse mastery. I think the idea of going sugar free is really intimidating. I think the idea of just like eating cruisy clean is also, there were so many ideas that were intimidating. So I had followed your Instagram for a while, back when your Instagram was all Spartan racing, or almost all Spartan racing.
Right, back in the
There was
day.
a time in my life where I was very into Spartan racing, but I still, had all those health issues. I worked out, and that all those things happened. And so, what really resonated for me was the whole concept of impulse mastery, because I was seeing my impulses play out. Like it would be easier to answer really easy emails and not tackle the big projects. It'd be really easy to like give in to like the foods that I want to eat, or like, or I wouldn't finish, like I wanted to finish like getting my certain certifications, and it was so much easier to sit there and watch Netflix. And so like impulse control was just showing up in like all areas of my life, and I didn't know where it was coming from. And so having seen some of your Instagram posts and whatnot, talking about like it's connected to how your brain is wired, and it's like not your fault, and like that really resonated with me. And that's what spoke to me, is like, okay, I need to work on my impulses, and that will, kind of help me sort out the food and the everything else of it all.
Right. And it's like what you said, it's like the impulses, it's so much more than just food. It's like it shows up in all areas of your life. Like you're doing like 3 jobs right now, and you're doing like you're also, you have your own like personal life and all these things too. And so it's the one thing that keeps you in the way of getting a goal achieved. Like you said, like it will make you want to put things off in your work, or it'll make you want to like eat the extra bite of cookies or whatnot, And so I'm so happy that resonated with you, because it's really true. It's never about the food, or it's not about the number on the scale. Even at the end of the day, it's really just about how do you manage this brain, like this thing right up here, because this brain is the thing that's in charge of everything we do. And literally, this is what weight loss is truly about. It's not even about like you said, it's not about going sugar free and taking all that away. That's not even the point. The point is, how do I like not like answer every single craving my brain tells me to do, because that brain is just always wired to want like what's pleasurable, like right now, like instantly. And that's what makes us want to eat more than we need for fuel. I'm glad you kind of resonate that. It's like I'm saying more now, it's not about weight loss, it's more about like mind management. So I'm curious for you, like with that sort of perspective on joining like a weight loss program and things like that, like what have you learned in the program, or what have you taken away from the program where you were able to learn more about how your mind works, and how has that impacted your day-to-day choices, like around like food, or maybe managing your work? Like how has that knowledge of how to manage your brain's impulses, how has it impacted your day-to-day like actions?
Yeah, I would say like now I'm in a place where I just check in with myself. I make it a point to give myself space in the morning to kind of stretch and be alone with my thoughts. Same within the evening. I think this program really helped me be able to just sit with my thoughts. And that's something that I didn't realize was so connected to all those impulsive behaviors I was having, was that I thought I was like listening to my thoughts, and I was listening to my impulses and not the real thoughts I was having about the situation, the like how unhappy I was with certain things, or how I wanted certain things to change, but like maybe felt hopeless, or maybe I was actually really. And then I think there are other times where the impulses are like, I'm really excited that I had this win, and like now I have to like have a reward. And so there were just a lot of thought processes that were happening that were just like starting to break down. I realized I experienced through the program, I realized I had a lot of FOMO when it came to food. And I felt like, oh my gosh, there's this pop-up market that's happening, I gotta go. And or like if I don't satisfy like the stress right now with some food, it's like the end all be all. Or oh my gosh, there's this promotion for like Panera right now, and I gotta go like redeem this reward, I gotta go redeem the Starbucks reward like right now. And so I just would have I have this like food FOMO that would show up all the time in different ways. And then I would make it a priority to be like, okay, we gotta hit it.
Right. Oh, we gotta go. Right. And you notice like how your brain's working, right? Like you notice how like urgent it is, even though it's not even maybe a true emergency kind of thing.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it would just trump everything else.
Right. Like it becomes like the big priority and things like that. Right. And so how has having that awareness, how has having that awareness of seeing those thoughts come up in your mind, like how has it helped you, I guess, with your relationship with food, or with your relationship with yourself or your body? Like how has that helped you, like having that awareness?
I think there's the art and like being able to name what something is. And because when you can't name it, you can't control it. And so I think being able to like name and this, like being able to be like, okay, I'm having this thought right now. Like, where is that coming from? Like, what is, am I feeling FOMO? Am I feeling stressed out? Am I feeling like it just what am I actually feeling right now? Like figuring out like, am I feeling like this like loss of control and I just want to control something, or just having that conversation with myself to be able to focus on like what's actually in front of me and not just be like, okay, but let me just eat this right now and that'll solve my problem.
Right. Oh my gosh, that's such a great point. Cause right, like most of us are just wired to like want to eat the food right away. And then we don't actually solve what the real issue is. And so I love that having that awareness is like kind of slowing you down, and it's helping you really, really like truly assess the situation before you kind of take impulsive actions. And it helps you really make choices that are more in alignment with where you want to go. And we teach this concept of the future self, which Victoria was hinting at right now and like earlier. And she was saying, we have these like two voices in our head. We have that impulsive voice that just wants pleasure right now, but it's not in our best interests long term. And then we have that future self that, it's like more rational, like it has our goals in mind, and it uses the more evolved part of our brain. And that's the one that we can listen to when we slow down and we take a minute to just like think about our choices. And so with that, I mean, that's how Victoria was able to like slow down with her eating habits and things like that. And she was able to, if I could share, like she was able to launch her business online and able to make those kind of changes because she was like able to kind of see like, oh, not every impulse I have in my mind is like, it's not an actual thing I need to act on. Like I don't have to buy the cookies at the pop-up shop just because my brain wants it, and how did that feel for you, Victoria, to have that sort of ability to do that, to like be able to say no? Like it might not be perfect all the time, but to help you see like, oh, I can actually say no to those foods.
It's hard.
It's not easy.
The FOMO is real. I mean, it's not like the
Right.
FOMO ever goes away. But
It's
here's
a
what I learned.
survival,
It's
it's
like
a survival mechanism. Yeah.
here's what I like learned is that like FOMO, you're gonna experience whether you do the thing or you don't do the thing.
Hmm.
I like for me, like saying no is hard. It's gotten easier over time. And I truly try to like think it's almost like when you go shopping and you're like, you have like 5 shirts that you're holding up and you're like getting ready to be like, okay, which ones am I actually gonna buy? And you're like, okay, which ones am I actually gonna wear? And it's kind of the same decision, but like
Right.
every 3 meals a day.
Right.
What am I actually gonna like eat, what's actually going to like serve me and like the life I want.
Right. Right. And you're not making decisions just out of these instant gratification like impulses. It's more moving you toward like who you want to be and where you want to be, which is the beauty of having that skill. You don't just react on autopilot. Like you can start making more decisions that are in alignment with your goals, which is what I've seen you do, Victoria, like especially throughout the program. Like you're definitely taking the time to slow down, be more aware, to actually think, am I hungry? Do I actually need this cookie? Like, do I actually need this right now? And show yourself that you can like slow down and you don't have to act on every impulse, which is incredible and amazing. It's like hard. It's like literally, I tell people like, this is the hardest work you could do. Like literally like the food, saying no to food is like going against the survival instinct, literally. So it could feel like you're dying sometimes if you don't act on that impulse and that urge. But when you don't act on it, that's when you make your dreams come true. When you start to lose the weight and get to where you want to be. All right, Victoria. So after going through the program, like what did you think were your biggest wins and personal breakthroughs?
The biggest thing for me, and I'm excited to share this with you. So this summer, shortly after the program ended, I actually went back to my doctor for my annual checkup, or actually we were doing quarterly checkups at that point. And she was like, "Your numbers are great. You don't have to take these pills unless you want to. Pills to like help control my like cholesterol and blood and all of that, and that we would reduce the frequency of our like our routine checkups." And so I was just like so excited. I was like that was like money well spent on the program because I didn't also have to go to the doctors as much and have to pay for pills and all of the things. And so that was just such a win in itself. I was like, oh my God, I did the work and the numbers show it.
Oh my God, it's amazing. I didn't even know that. I was like, what? That's incredible. So you went off all your blood pressure, cholesterol medicines?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, shoot. That,
Yeah. And so a large part of the reason I was on it is because like I'm like genetically like predisposed to like diabetes and high blood pressure and whatnot. And so it was like preventative care, but also my numbers were that like moderately high, like that, like right before the cusp kind of level. I had higher than normal cholesterol, I had higher than normal everything. And so it was really exciting to be like, oh, I'm at where I should be for like my age range and all of that.
oh my gosh, that's amazing. That's incredible. And I mean, and of course, kudos to you for putting in that work because you did, you did the work that helped you get there. But I'm just like amazed, like, because a lot of my clients, like, they do commonly have like elevated blood pressure and elevated cholesterol levels. So thanks for being an example of what's possible for people. So that's incredible. Congratulations.
For me, I think it's something I mentioned earlier, which was just being able to like sit with my thoughts and understand like what am I actually thinking right now. And a lot of what I was thinking before was like, once I do this, like I'll feel better, or like once I like send this email, like my inbox will be under control, or once I post this picture, then I don't have to do anything for a week, and then I can just like let things kind of play out how it would. And I had this feeling, I think it's called the arrival fallacy. It's like once something, you meet this idea in your head, then like everything fixes itself. And I think for me, I was learning to like divorce from those kind of thoughts and then be like, okay, actually, like real talk, like right now, what is it that you're feeling and what like realistically is going to help solve the problem.
Mm.
And that was the thing. I was like learning that there was no shortcuts. Like my brain was creating all these like shortcuts, thinking that like if I just satisfy this one thing right now, like all else will be fixed. And that was never true, and it never will be. And learning to just be okay with that and being like, okay, at the core, if like we can't fix the hundreds of things, but like at its core, if we could do one thing right now, like what is that?
Oh my gosh.
And the answer is never food. Like that's also what I've learned. It's the answer's never food.
Oh my gosh. Did you guys hear that? She said, oh my gosh, the answer's never food. What? That's like this one saying I like. It's like, it says the answer is never in the refrigerator, or the answer is never in the kitchen. Oh my God, I love that. But it's so true. First of all, I never heard of anyone put it that way. Like you said, it's called the what fallacy?
Called the arrival fallacy.
Oh, arrival fallacy. Like, yeah, I'm just like, oh my God, I know exactly what you're talking about. And I love that you put it that way, because we do this a lot, even with weight loss. We even think like, okay, once I reach once the weight's off, like everything's good and I don't need to worry about anything and blah, blah, blah. But the truth is, our brain tricks us. Like our brain wants us to just be comfortable. It wants us to have instant gratification and pleasure. And so it'll trick us with those kind of thoughts. Like once we arrive at our goal weight, all our problems will be solved. And once we send that email, we don't have to deal with any other emails. But it's like, no, that's not true. And I love that you're able to step into that acceptance of that truth, because that's a hard truth. I mean, it's not, it sucks. It's kind of like, oh man, like, okay, this is just reality. And sometimes reality isn't always like, it doesn't feel good. But I love that you got to terms with that and you were willing to accept that. And the faster you are to accepting reality, the faster you are to, making the changes you want in your life. But I love that you made that, it sounds like a very positive opportunity for yourself. And you're just like, okay, knowing this and accepting this, what am I going to do now? Like, what's the best thing I could do moving forward? What's the actual problem here? And we know it's not related to food. So that was so good. Oh my gosh, that's such a great insight. That's so amazing. Oh my goodness. So yes, you guys, for all of you listening, if you're having your brain trying to trick you, remember that's the arrival fallacy and it's not the truth. Okay. So remember what's really real. All right. Oh my God, so good. All right, Victoria. So in terms of like, for anybody who is on the fence, for anybody who is struggling with their own weight loss journey, or they have these impulses that just feel out of control with food right now, like what kind of advice would you say to them about whether or not they should join this program?
You're not really gonna know until you really talk to Charmaine if it's a good fit. And so she hosts got free one-on-one like consultation calls. And so you might as well just like sign up, get a feel for her. I will say for me, it was really important to have a coach that could understand like cultural influences in someone's life. And so I'm a part Filipino and that has influences on me. Like I have a hard time saying no to ube snacks. And I was like, I needed a coach who could understand that there were going to be like cultural influences in play. And so through that conversation, I was able to see that like Charmaine really both respected what was important to me, but also, knew what she was talking about and really wanted to take like a holistic approach with like in seeing my journey and my goals. And so that's not something that you can gauge for yourself until you have that conversation.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Victoria. And I really appreciate that. Like I agree too. Like the having someone who could really understand, especially the cultural implication, because like Victoria said, like I'm Filipino, she's part Filipino, and it's so true. There are cultural implications that can make the saying no to food like really challenging, and it's really helpful to have someone with the